Right, guys. So, welcome back to the second episode of the Terriers Talk podcast, and the first of the Terrier Talk guest show. We've got on today Ryan Mather, who is the head of the Proud Terriers group. So, Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. I'm Ryan. I've lived in Huddersfield all my life, and I'm a big Huddersfield Town fan.
Well, we thought that following last week's home game, which was the Terriers Together game, and the football against homophobia month, we thought this would be a prime kind of time to show our audience kind of like the kind of leader of the Proud Terriers group, and kind of welcome him onto the podcast, and just kind of give him a voice and kind of show his group off a little bit more and kind of show his opinions to maybe a different audience to what's seen it so far, because our audience might be a slightly younger one compared to perhaps other podcasts. So we thought that this would be a prime example for that. So Ryan, do you want to kind of talk about the season altogether? Because without that, we probably wouldn't be here right now speaking about this. So, what do you think of Town so far this season?
Yeah, I think we've definitely developed that more attacking game. We're creating more chances, and Carlos has really invigorated the side since he's come in, and he's made a big difference actually, especially with the limited resources he had at his disposal. I think looking to January, where we maybe could have done with getting a few more players in, and we didn't, which was very disappointing. And looking ahead now, I feel a bit worried because, like I said, the form hasn't been great, and we're creating the chance, but we just can't seem to score enough goals because we're conceding pretty much every game. So a bit of a mixed bag, really. But I'm fairly happy, but I'm still worried about what will happen for the rest of the season, really.
Yes, I mean, like, obviously we're here to talk about your group, the Proud Terriers. So, like, could you kind of tell us how that came about as such, and kind of how you were feeling like when you were setting that up? Like, if there were any like concerns, how you feeling like stuff like that, really?
Yeah, sure. So I decided to set the group in October 2017. At that time, I knew that I was actually openly gay, and being, going to football for as long as I can remember, and having a season ticket at Town, and going to away games. I was pretty much a regular spectator, and as time went on, I really did seem to notice how toxic at times and how unwelcoming I felt at a Town game, because of the atmosphere that can be very intimidating. Like I said, towards the start, I was very worried about what people's reactions may be to the group itself, and yeah, but I really wanted to make a difference within football because I feel so passionate about it, and I just want to have a better experience again. But I also want to improve the experience of other fans that may be different. And I set out on this journey. I created a vision and a mission that I wanted to create, and I wanted to really create that culture of inclusion within football, and really develop that more accepting atmosphere within the ground and community as a whole. So yeah, like I say, at the very start, I set up a Twitter page, which was pretty basic, and we've just gone from strength to strength, really, in terms of the numbers that are following us now, and having our own website now, and the success along the way, which has just been overwhelming, and yeah, it's just been a pretty surreal experience, and one I'm grateful to have this opportunity to make that big difference in football, like I feel like I'm making at the moment.
Yeah, it's all brilliant. I was just wondering. You said it was it's just over just over 3 years since the Proud Terriers was set up. And what are some of your highlights with the group? Some of your best moments that stick out if you have to think about them?
Yeah, I think we've got a really good mixture of achievements that we've had over the years. Most notably, having the opportunity to meet the players, and having a photo with a few of the players with a flag, canal side, I mean, other things, like being in the program, we're very visible because every year we always know that we've got a space within that program throughout the different campaigns that relate to a group like mine, such as the Rainbow Laces campaign and the Football v Homophobia campaign as well. I think another big achievement was about a few months after I'd started, I had a message from Kick It Out, a really amazing organisation that really does try and educate people and fight discrimination within our game. And I had the opportunity to film about the experience I had in football, and they had this project that they had, and I was really honoured to be a part of that, because I got the opportunity to go down to the Emirates Stadium and really socialise with other LGBT fans, which was brilliant. And the overall experience that I got from that was just incredible. I think another highlight is definitely having after it was quite the club really did push to get the flag up in the stadium, and towards the start the flag was up on the wall towards the Fantastic Media side, and that was a really big highlight for me, because it showed, it made a big statement that our club really does support what I do, kind of thing. So other highlights, being involved in the pre-match entertainment at Canal side for our Rainbow Laces fixture a few years ago. I had a little Q&A on stage with Andy Boove, and that was a pretty surreal experience. And yeah, I just feel like there's been so many highlights that it's hard to pick a few really, but I think those that stick in my mind.
That's brilliant, Ryan. And it's so good to see that people are really, should be accepting what you do, because football is a massive part of your life, and for you, like others in the LGBT community, not to be going to a football game and not feeling accepted, I just can't imagine how devastating that feels, because football should be liberating for everyone, no matter who you support. I know supporting Huddersfield at times is not liberating whatsoever. But like you said, you've got your flags, where Jack and I are proudly wearing the Proud Terriers pin badge. Unfortunately, Ben couldn't because he's up in Middlesbrough, but he's got the Huddersfield Town flag. How has stuff like flags and badges and stuff like that helped you? Because I know we talked a few days ago and you said, this is quite upsetting, that you felt at first kind of apprehensive to get your flag out and show everyone, your beliefs. How have you kind of grown in confidence from that point?
Yeah, I think at the point when I made the group, I'd just come out of school, and
right.
And at that point, I had a really terrible school life, and my confidence was quite rock bottom at that point. So I don't think that helped my mindset at that time. But as I say, as time's gone on, I've just kind of developed that attitude that, if people's gonna say something, they'll say it. But I feel like usually I never usually get the no one usually says anything unless it's online. So I think I was overthinking it at points, because so like within a few months of setting the group, obviously people started getting to know the group a bit more, and we did have a few I don't know how to describe it, but a few trolling messages, could you say?
Yeah.
And I used to react in a way that was very unprofessional, but actually it's made me learn that you shouldn't really react to people like that, because they're just trying to belittle you. But like I say, as time's gone on, I've really, I won't say feel comfortable with who I am, but I've just gained confidence in life as a whole. So I feel like as time's gone on, I've just kind of developed that attitude where I'm proud to get the flag out whenever whenever, well, obviously we haven't had an opportunity to do so for a while now with the COVID situation, but usually I've just been able to get the flag out at ease, whereas before I used to like I said, I take it everywhere with me, and I used to really want to get it out, but I really in the end I didn't at times towards the start, which looking back now I feel quite disappointed by it. But it's really, like I say, it comes down to the fact that football's so intimidating, and you just never know how people will react really. So
yeah.
I mean, did that like kind of have something to do with? I mean, I saw a statistic earlier today, saying something like 43% of people had witnessed like homophobia or like issues towards LGBT people at games. Like, do you reckon that was probably a massive kind of factor into why you didn't put the flag up at first, thinking that perhaps that might happen again?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, seeing statistics that are so I don't really know what word to describe really, but I feel like these stats are really shocking to see, and I don't think that really helped. No, I don't think it did at all, because, like I said, I felt at times really uncomfortable within a stadium, and then obviously seeing statistics to back that up. Yeah, but yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable now. Like I say, I'm just gaining confidence with every passing month.
Do you think the club's involvement with it all has like kind of somewhat helped there be less kind of issues at the game and stuff? So like with the club obviously having you in the program and like you becoming a more well-known face in the Huddersfield Town community, do you reckon that's like massively kind of helped that number that might have perhaps said something in the past but have like kind of educated themselves about it because they've seen your group about?
Yes, I definitely think the club have a big part to play in that, for sure, because like I say, I think, as time's gone, I've realised that, they really do promote inclusivity within them, try and make everyone feel welcome at our stadium. And I feel like, initiatives like the Terriers Together, obviously it covers a wide range of discriminatory things within football, but obviously one of our sections is obviously fighting homophobia within the game, so I think that comes into that as well. So I think having a club that's so supportive really helped to educate people. But like I said, I think we need to keep moving and keep progressing and keep just raising that awareness. I think awareness is really important, and being visible. I think you should never underestimate those two things, because like I say, raising awareness, educates people, and obviously visibility shows that we are here and we exist, and we should have that voice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you just mentioned progression and keeping moving forward, and I think that's really interesting. How much do you feel in the 3 years that or football as a whole has progressed and moved forward past the old negative mindset? And I'll just touching on that after that. Do you think more can be done from here, and what do you think that could be?
Yeah, I think the progression from the group's perspective is for all to see, because like I say, within a few years we've grown the people that know who we are, and we're visible. So I think that's a big step forward. Within the game, I think it's a bit, you've got to look at the bigger picture. I mean, we're slowly getting there. We are making progress every year, but I feel like it's a real slow progress that we're making. And I think that, when you touched upon, do I think that, what more could be done? Sorry. I think there could be an awful lot more to be done in terms of the FA could be doing more, for sure. Clubs, there's always room for improvement within clubs as well, up and down the country. Some clubs don't show as much support as Huddersfield Town do, so it'd be great to get clubs supporting it more. I think another big step forward possibly in the future is some high profile footballers maybe coming out in support of the LGBT community, not necessarily coming out, but really supporting. I know that there's I know Arsenal, Hector Bellerin, really showed his support for the community as a whole. And, he did a really inspiring interview, actually, As I don't know if you're aware, but obviously Arsenal have got a LGBT group called the Gay Gooners, and they're pretty big, but like I say, I think we need more players to be able to come out in support, and that'll really push it forward. But I think the FA really need to be doing a lot more than they are doing. Like I say, I want to touch upon the campaigns that obviously happen every single year. Obviously with the Rainbow Laces, which is run by a company called Stonewall, which they do amazing work yet again. They really do make that difference. And then the Football v Homophobia campaign month, which is obviously this month. Again, that makes a massive difference. But I feel like, from my perspective, is these campaigns are amazing, but like when these campaigns are over, it seems to be forgotten about. And I feel like we should really be taking this more seriously within our game, because I really don't feel like it's taken seriously enough. You only have to look at the fact that in the stadium, being homophobic isn't even illegal yet. And I know there was, I know it went to Parliament last year, but it seems to have just dropped off again, and we haven't really heard any progress since then, which is really sad. But like I say, it's a lot more
definitely. There's, like you said, there's a lot more to be done. And like you said earlier, the FA, I think I'll speak for us all. There should be a lot more being done. And there's a stat where almost 70% of people feel that the FA need to be doing more, and I think that just speaks volumes, because without the major governing bodies of football actually acting, you're going to continue to have those ignorant people with that closed mindset and people who are not willing to adapt. And you discussed earlier how when you first set up the group, there were a lot of trolls online, and I think this whole kind of concept of homophobia, I think that is fueled online. So do you think that, because a lot of the young generation do use online platforms, do you think there should be a lot more done in schools to educate the younger generation, so when they grow up, they're more accepting of everyone in society?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to make, actually. Yeah, I mean, when I was at school a few years ago, we didn't really touch upon much like that. Yeah. But I believe now in schools it's got a lot better, and obviously the kids are taught, that people, may be different, and it's all right, and it's okay to have two dads, for example, and I think that's really important, that education side of it, to let our kids know that that it is normal, and it's definitely important.
Like, well, from that, do you think kind of do you think people don't take it seriously, like kind of on social media platforms and stuff? Like, for example, like I've seen on football Twitter a few times, like people kind of throw like homophobic words around. Do you think like perhaps people see it on social media, and because like maybe a few people say on social media, then think it's kind of acceptable to do it? And do you think that's like a massive problem from that?
Yeah, again, that's a very good point you've made, and I feel like, yeah, definitely. I think what our younger generation see, they kind of feel like it's okay to say stuff like that, and it doesn't really send out that positive message. And like I say, it's far too easy to be able to troll online nowadays, and I feel like there should be a lot more protection. I think from our point of view is that you should actually not be able to create these fake accounts that usually that trolling does come from. And I don't agree with it at all, and I feel like more should be done from the social media platform side of it to actually protect people within society, because words do hurt, and I've come to know that that seeing stuff online, getting hate online is just as bad as receiving hate like face to face. So it's just as bad. So it should be taken as seriously. And yeah, it's just really important to take these steps to protect everybody online.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, and then when we were talking earlier in the week, I was shocked by this because I didn't actually know that homophobia isn't actually illegal in football stadiums. I think that's ridiculous. So how quickly do you think that needs to be done? How quickly can it be done? Because it should be near top priority for me. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said earlier, I feel like I said, I know it did go to Parliament last year, but there didn't seem to be any progress. I haven't heard anything since. I don't know what's happened there. But to answer your question, it needs to come in sooner rather than later, I'm afraid, because like I say, it's just not acceptable. Like I say, and it comes down to that fact of, homophobia should be treated seriously, and until it's made illegal within stadiums. Okay, I know that stadiums have a protocol, but I think it's important to put a law in place as well, because technically it's not actually an offence to say, homophobic things within a stadium, and for an openly gay fan like me, that just really hurts, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%, and I can sympathise there, because I know if anything was said about my personality, my skin colour, anything like that, I think people would be, correct me if I'm wrong, I think people would jump onto my back, kind of defending me more if something was said about the colour of my skin. And I know there's been a lot of kind of stuff highlighted about race and stuff like that, but you don't really see this about kind of homophobia. And I know we've got the rainbow laces, I know we've got the still more campaigns, but I think what really stands out for me is going to the game just as a Huddersfield Town fan. Like, there's a lot of animosity between the fans, and I'm going to use something that you said earlier in the week. You said that there's a macho stereotype where people feel more obliged to say stuff at a game, and they don't actually mean it. So would you agree with me when I say that when people are at football games, they've had maybe 2, drinks, and the atmosphere is kind of hotting up, do you think their first kind of reflex is to jump to homophobic language?
I think possibly, yeah, but like I say, I think it's also down to people not knowing what they're saying. I mean, I'm not protecting anybody here, because like I say, there's two sides of it, really. There's people that just like to be, just acting appropriately and just behave in that manner. And there's some people that genuinely don't know what they don't realise they're causing offence to maybe the LGBT community. So there's two sides of it, really. I think the like the bigoted people, I have no sympathy for, because they're just being like that, just to maybe show off in front of the friends or whatever. And whereas what I feel like we need to be doing is educating the people that may not necessarily know that they're being offensive, by educating and raising awareness of it is going to really improve that situation. But like I say, I'm not entirely sure.
Like, you said the specifically, like, with it, people like being macho kind of type thing. Do you reckon there should be, obviously I know there's the kick it out thing. I don't know if that's a kick it out thing or like a Huddersfield Town or an EFL thing, with like the text number and you said earlier in the week there's like an app where you can like report it on. Do you reckon there should be that should be heightened in a way that if stuff is found and it's just kind of like so obviously I don't really know how the system works, but do you reckon it should be like quite simple, as in if there is reports of it and there's evidence to back it up? So for example, a video of it happening or like an audio file of it happening, that's a straight ban or a temporary ban from going into a stadium to watch football.
Yeah, like I said, I know the club's stance on it for sure. Let me explain a bit about that. Obviously, from my understanding is that when you text this number, that obviously goes straight through to the team, like the security team, and it does get dealt with there and then, like straight away. So it is a high priority. So yeah, like I say, it's taken very seriously. But in terms of like, I've lost my track of thought.
It's all right. Well, I'll pick
What
up on.
question? Sorry, because I don't think I answered it that great. What was the end of your question, Ben?
So like, do you reckon it should be kind of like a straight ban, or do you reckon there should be like kind of like build up like kind of a ladder to it? For example, like say if there's a first offence, maybe a month banning order, 6 month, 12 month, etc., etc., etc. Or do you reckon it should just be like a straight ban?
Yeah, like I say, I think this is a really topical situation, because for me to actually say what punishment may be in place is a bit difficult, because it depends on the situation as well, really.
Right.
Because in terms of what the person is doing, and how they're behaving, it has to just be on the basis of what's happening in that situation. And obviously the worse it is, obviously the more punishment you should get, really. But like I say, I feel like the punishment side of it is something that isn't necessarily should be answered by me. It should be people that should be assessing the situation, and then obviously making a decision from what they know. So I think I have to trust the people that are in charge at the top, that they'll make a decision that I will agree with, and other people will as well. So.
And would you say that's like a kind of kick out issue, kind of to create that kind of rule, or do you reckon it should be sort of a club by club, or even like a government kind of basis of like if it's like a one-off remark, then there's something put in, or like etc., etc., etc. So like, where do you think that kind of lies, the issue with that, really? Like, do you reckon that's the government thing, or do you reckon that should be club, or kick it out, or somebody else?
I think we've all got a responsibility, and I feel like obviously whatever stadium it is at, the club is responsible mostly for this. And I think that's important, that like I say, it just depends where which stadium it's at, but the club have a big responsibility mostly for me.
Just to we've just been talking about the different protocols and the different organisations, but just to touch back on the Proud Terriers, in this going forward now, how far do you think you can take the Proud Terriers as a group, and have you got any like main goals or aspirations that you'd like to see as part of the Proud Terriers?
Yeah, like I say, for anybody that knows me, knows that I'm an ambitious person, and I like to keep going and keep progressing as much as I can. And I feel like the progression, like I say, if you've looked from the start to now, I have progressed every year. So yeah, of course, I'd love to see more progression within our group. But it's not just about my group; it's about football as a whole that I'm wanting to change. Obviously, this group is put in place to make people feel welcome within the game. People able to have a voice within the group, and feel able to go to games if they may not necessarily feel like they can, if maybe they've got no one else to go with. So I feel like we have to be focusing on the bigger picture here of actually, the experiences that I face at Huddersfield is the same experiences to any gay fan that's up and down the country at different stadiums, because as time gone on, I've developed that we all have the same experiences, but they're different in their own ways. But like I say, I want to just keep pushing forward, and I want to keep making that difference. And like I say, being out there and raising awareness and doing what I do, I just want to keep building on that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I think we'll just touch on one or two more things. And I've got a stat here, and I know this has mostly been stats kind of based off our topic conversations, but I think it really does, and it really will, and I'm hoping it does, kind of paint a bigger picture into the minds of our viewers. So 63% of people say they would not feel comfortable confronting someone who has used homophobic language, which is it's outrageous, because I'm sure if it was said to one of their family members, they'd turn around and say, no, mate, you can't say that. That is bang out of order. What would you say to people, or what would your message be to people at football stadiums who maybe would feel a bit less uncomfortable less comfortable, kind of speaking out, what would you say to them, and how much would it help you or other people in your position?
I think obviously the comfortable nature of it is, it depends where you're at in life, and how you feel comfortable within your own skin ultimately. But I feel like that's why it's so important to have these things in place, like the number that we mentioned earlier about reporting it to, so other people can deal with it. Because like I say, I don't ultimately, even now, I don't ultimately feel comfortable actually calling it out, because maybe if I was with people, then maybe I would do so. But I'm one of these people that don't like confrontation. I don't want to be, but I also feel like I have a duty to call it out as well. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, this, because I can't give advice to other people when I feel like maybe I should be doing more in my position to actually make that difference. Because like I say, but it's not always easy. Like I said, it's very intimidating still for me at times when it's
Yeah, definitely. We can imagine.
Like I say, for me to actually speak up will be a big thing for me. As much as my confidence has grown, it really hasn't grown to that level. But going forward, I think that's why it's so important to report it via various avenues if you don't feel comfortable, because ultimately, if you're doing that, then it means that you're actually dealing with it, but you're actually dealing with it in a way that you feel most comfortable with. And that's important because, like I said, prior to all this COVID going on, towards the end, before COVID started, I feel like there was incidents being reported pretty much every week, which really struck volumes for me in terms of, not that homophobia is just all of a sudden happened. It means that there's more avenues to report things, so therefore people are feeling more comfortable to report it. So that's important, because like I say, it means that it's been dealt with, and or we'd like to think it's been dealt with anyway in the best possible way. So that's progress.
Yeah, completely. I mean, like, to somewhat finish on a positive, because I mean we spoke quite a bit of like kind of negative experiences there. Like, what would you say, like, the impact that you've had kind of specifically in Huddersfield and like with the group? Like kind of like a double part question. Like, what's the impact that you've had already, and then like how can people get involved with that if they would like to kind of, from seeing this, like how can they get involved with the group? So yeah, like what's the impact that you've had so far, and then we'll go on to the second part.
Can you just repeat the question? Sorry,
Yeah, no worries. I rambled then. Like, what would you say the impact you've had so far, like amongst people? Like, is there anything before games? Like, obviously you spoke that before games, like you're involved with like Rainbow Laces, but like, is there anything that you do within the group before games and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think as time went on, I really wanted to develop that social aspect of the group as well, and I feel like it was really important. So we always meet up before games, for sure, and have a little social before the game, and just have a nice catch up on that. And it's really positive. I love it. And obviously, that's at home games. At away games, we do arrange. Games that we go to as a group together. And again, it just brought people together that may necessarily not felt comfortable to go to games. So again, that's a real positive for me. I feel like that's the impact we've had on some people, which is really nice.
And then second part of the question is like, how can people get involved with the group, like, and how can they become a part of the Proud Terriers?
So we've got an email. Obviously, we've got social media. So Proud Terriers, you'll find us. You'll find us when you type us in Twitter for sure. Because like I say, or even if you type us on the internet, you'll see our website straight away. And there's various avenues where you can contact us that way. But like I say, I don't want people to feel like they can't come to us if they want to. Like I say, we respect everyone's situation. So obviously, in terms of the media side of it, if you don't want to, you're not comfortable at that time. We respect people's situations, and we don't like to push people in the door, but we also like to have that welcoming door open if they do want to. So that's the stance that I have.
It's been absolutely brilliant, like speaking to you about it, because obviously you just mentioned there's so many like different avenues of getting involved. The fact that you're on Twitter, Instagram, and obviously I think the ground as well. There's the flag set up, so then people can kind of see it, and even if they've not seen it before, they've now got the outlet there pretty much on every I Follow home game, that they can now see the group and contact you, which is I think vital for the club to go forward with, to like pretty much not like push it forward, but kind of give it that little nudge and show it off as such as a group that the club are proud to support, because of like how big of an issue it is really within football.
Yeah, that visibility is really important. So yeah, like I say, it just makes me smile when I see the flag every game at home. Sure, it makes me feel really proud. So yeah, thank you.
I mean, it's a massive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive thing. Like I say, never underestimate that. Like I say, when we were in the stadium, it was up towards the fantastic media side. It just really meant a lot to me, So for sure, it's important.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I mean, Ryan, we're so grateful to have you on here because one, it expands your platform to younger viewers, and secondly, it kind of shows that if we can have an understanding as basically kids, then people watching this can also adopt that, level of understanding. So I think that kind of finishes our conversation for today, and I'll speak for everyone here that we are so grateful to have you on here, and it's been a real pleasure, and it's been kind of been like a lesson for us, and for us to pick up some stats like 33% of fans say they believe LGBT supporters weren't made welcome at games. That needs to change. So I think having you on here and discussing very kind of like really raw topical matters today, I think that's been it's been really beneficial. So thank you for
that.
Yeah. I'll just they've all spoken, so I'll say a little bit now. I just think it's been really insightful, and I'm really appreciative of what you've said. I think it's very clear that you're passionate about what you're doing, and I think that's brilliant. And I'm sure people who are watching will agree, and I hope it does inspire people to support the Proud Terriers and the LGBT community in general.
Yeah, like I say, all really nice messages of support there. So like I say, I really appreciate you having me on. I really appreciate the support that you've shown me since we've come into contact for sure. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for your time as well. Obviously, it's been, I think, about 40 minutes that we've been on here, and you've been really insightful throughout. So thank you for opening people's eyes to it, because it's a massive issue that we do need to remove from football, not just from Huddersfield Town, but from football full stop. So thank you for your time and kind of showing us the Huddersfield Town side of it, and going into kind of the wider view of it as well, but also kind of keeping it about your group as well. It means an awful lot to us that you've come on, because obviously, especially as when you, it means an awful lot that you come on to kind of express your opinions and your views on stuff and open our eyes to it as well. So thank you for
that. I think we'll wrap it up there then. Thank you for watching. I'm sure. Thank you to Ryan for coming on again. And if you can drop a like and just subscribe if this is your first time watching, that'd be really appreciated. So thank you again, and we will see you for the next weekly review. See you later.